newscasts and kind of getting caught up on how the storm is all taking shape. It's for the most part going pretty much as we expected overnight and earlier in the morning, and through the morning hours was the main stratiform snow or consistency of snow. Now it's becoming more scattered and banding. We got a good band that's shaping up in places, and you kind of know how that lake effect goes. Although this is a pure lake effect, it's more lake enhanced, but snow banding. Lake effect kind of acts the same way, where you get a band that sets up in places and it maybe meanders a little bit. And so it really pounds those other places, where some other places are getting some lighter snow. I've been watching some of that banding set up, and we got more of the banding coming up if this storm stays as the models project this afternoon and into the evening hours too, with some more banding up by the lake, where we again think that that's where the higher totals will be because of that banding. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, how forecasts evolve in a second here, but just kind of give you an update on what's going on. Big story. This is sort of an elongated weather forecast that you see on TV. We just kind of take our time and kind of explain things a little bit. You know, on TV we have a few minutes because you got news and sports and what have you. It's not, a whole hour's worth of weather. But here we can take our time just a little bit. If you are, just a disclaimer, I like to put this out there because sometimes we'll read the comments to see if there are any themes of questions that we need to address in future Facebook Lives or what have you. And of course, you come across some of the comments that some of you I know just want the meat and potatoes of the forecast. You just want the nuts and the bolts and go about your way. This is not for you. If you're that, head over to fox8.com, the weather page and the forecast discussion, and you can get that right there. Also on our social media pages, Instagram and over on Facebook, the Fox 8 Facebook and the Fox 8 Weather Facebook, as well as the Fox 8 Instagram. Those will give you exactly what you need as far as closings, or as far as snowfall totals or temperatures or wind chills or anything like that. So just, again, go over to those if you are the type of person that says, I don't need the 10, 15-minute talk. Just give me what I need to do, go and go. That's what you get on TV. We give you the quick essentials and go. Here, we take our time a little bit. So that's just a disclaimer for those of you. I get it. Everybody's different. Some of you like the longer conversations to explain to me in detail what's going on. Others are like, I don't need that. I just need you to tell me what's going on and get at it. So I get it. All right. So for those of you who like to take your time and detailed discussion, we still got this winter storm warning in effect because of the banding. Again, whenever we're talking about snow and dealing with the lake as well, we get the snow bands and the snow squalls that's set up. And so those counties in red will see the most snow. Counties in teal, we had a long discussion whether this was blue or green or teal this morning in the newsroom. I'll spare you all that, but I think the compromise was teal. Those of you in the teal, it's a winter weather advisory, which means you get less snow. You're a little further away from the lake, so you don't get the lake enhanced and the lake effect. All right, lake enhanced is whenever you got a system that's already producing snow, but it produces more snow because it's moving over the lake. Lake effect is there is no system. It's just the wind moving across the lake that creates the snow. So there's the difference there. All right, so snow reports, this is what we've seen so far. This was as of 11 o'clock this morning that the National Weather Service put this out. Now, that's been 3 hours ago, so we've probably added on to this. And every now and again, the National Weather Service, every few hours or so, will put out these totals. If you want more totals, I believe they're working on the website, fox8.com. I spoke with our web director. I believe she's working on a web story that's giving you probably a little bit more than just these 8 cities as far as totals. If not, then you can also, don't kill me, Celeste, my web producer, for shouting out another website. You can go to the National Weather Service Cleveland's website, weather.gov/CLE, and they have what's called a PNS, or a public information, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. I'm forgetting that last one. Public information statement. There we go. There it is. Public information statement, where they list by county and cities within the county how much snow has received. And they do that for other things too, whether it be temperature, if we get some really hot or really cold temperatures, rainfall, things like that, gusty winds and things like that. So that's just it if you want to see more. So far, Elyria, almost 5 inches so far. Again, as of 11 o'clock this morning. Avon, 4 inches. North Olmsted, 4. Westlake, almost 4. Sheffield Lake, about 3. A little over 3 in North Ridgeville. Lakewood, a little over 2.5. Huron at 2. And it's been snowing consistently and at a pretty good clip since then too. So I'm sure we picked up over the last 3 hours certainly a few more inches of snow. This is the time lapse though in North Canton this morning, the church parking lot there. So a snowy wonderland. All right, here's the outside view of the storm, and I'm starting to see more snow. When I got in this morning at about 10:30, I think it was more of a narrow band. Now I think I'm seeing a little bit more snow falling and taking shape out west. Look at that band. See, I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to take the radar view. This is what I'm talking about as far as these bands. See that band coming in off the lake? And so it's fire hosing eastern Cuyahoga County, Cleveland Heights, Garfield Heights, Walton Hills, Twinsburg. Seeing heavy snowfall, Hudson, even a little further south into just to the east of Brimfield. Let me scoot in and see Rootstown, Randolph. So though they're getting hit with that one band, even further down towards Alliance, getting hit with that band. Let's scoot up a little bit more and see. Just seeing some moderate snow showers in places like North Madison, over towards Mentor, Leroy. And then over towards Elyria, Vermilion, Lorraine, seeing some snow showers coming at a pretty good clip as well. Now you look places like, let's say Medina, Worcester, Canton, it's just snowing, just light scattered snow showers, what have you. And again, that's why the general gist of this is up by the lake, you're going to get more snow. A little further away from the lake, the totals are going to be less. So that's the general gist. But again, we're going to continue to see these bands in the lake effect that go through the evening and through tomorrow as well. And we'll run through that in the future cast. Temperatures, it's cold outside. Now, we're not seeing the gusty winds that we saw earlier this week, the 40, 50, 60 mile an hour winds and power outages and what have you. But when you got temperatures in the teens and 20s and there's a persistent like 20, 25, 30 mile an hour breeze and gust, then it does make things feel all the colder. And so even though we're in the lower to mid 20s, we got that persistent breeze coming in out of the north, northwest, and some places northeast like Willoughby, and it's up to 10 to 20 miles an hour. And every now and again, a gust, it makes it feel all the colder. So it feels like we're about 8 in Akron, 7 in Mansfield, 12 in Youngstown and Cleveland and Lorraine, 14 in Ashtabula and New Philadelphia, 11 in Worcester. So again, the moral of the story, it's wintertime and it's cold outside. The wind gusts, so they'll continue to be breezy. Even now, they'll gust up to about 25 miles an hour here throughout the afternoon. And then slowly through the evening and overnight, they kind of settle back to about 10, 15 miles an hour. So it's still a little breezy. And then they gust up again tomorrow up to about 25 miles an hour. So we never really get rid of the breezes around. So the wind chill is going to continue to stay in the single digits and in the teens through the course of the night. So just a heads up. All right, so here is the future cast. All right, so this is what the model has. Now remember, a forecast with snow is just like any other forecast, whether it's temperature or rainfall or anything like that. So if there are things that happen as the storm is going on that may make us tweak the forecast. For example, I'll use a temperature forecast. So if we are forecasting that tomorrow is going to be sunny and it has been dry lately, so the ground is dry, and so we may say, all right, it's going to be 80 degrees and sunny tomorrow. However, if some little dry system comes through and gives us partly to mostly cloudy skies instead of sunny, then we adjust our forecast that day and say, okay, these clouds have come in from this system, and instead of 80, because the clouds have been blocking out the sun that we didn't really expect, 76, 77 degrees is what we're going to go with for a high. And so we've adjusted that for that forecast. Same with rainfall. If we have a system that comes in and looks like it's going to be heavy rain, and we say we're going to forecast 1.5 inches of rain, but the system moves a little further to the south because some high pressure north pushes it a little further south. So then we have to correct and say, okay, we only got 3/4 inch of rain instead of 1.5 inches because this high pressure system nudged a little bit further to the south and suppressed the rainfall that we would have had the system been able to come a little further north. So again, it's those, we have a forecast, and then we adjust it based off of what's happening. I know some of you may say, oh, you're just trying to cover yourself because we're not getting the snow you thought. No, we still think we're going to get a lot of snow, especially up along the lake and in the snow belt. But you also look at current trends. So our forecast, you'll see in a second, it still remains the same with some minor tweaks here or there. But the banding is the big thing. So we go through the course of the afternoon. We're still watching these bands right along the lake. That's going to give us the higher snowfall totals. But if you'll notice away from the lake, say down towards Worcester and Mansfield and Canton, what have you, it's still snowing. You'll still get some of those bands that come through, but it's not going to be persistent like you'll see up at the lake when we get into that lake effect. So here is this evening. I'm just backing this up for you. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we're still seeing the banding up by the lake. It's starting to slowly move southward throughout the course of the evening time, but you'll notice it's less and less snow coverage. By 11 o'clock tonight, most of us are drying out. There are still a few more lake effect snow bands that's going on overnight tonight. See there about 4 o'clock in the morning, Lorain County, Cleveland, Cuyahoga County, up into Lake County, Geauga County, down into northern Summit County, seeing some snow up in Ashtabula County. So take that right there, for example, and let's say that you see this right here. Let's say that's exactly what is going to happen. But based off of our models and based off of what we know, we may say this is going to produce 1 inch to 2 inches overnight for Cleveland because of that snow band. But if that snow band doesn't drift all the way south like this model says it would, then those 1 to 2 inches that we're forecasting for Cleveland will not materialize. So if we say 6 to 9 and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to go with that higher number because, of course, that's always sexiest. 9 inches for Cleveland. But this band didn't materialize, so we got to take off a couple of inches that we thought we would have. And so now we're down to 7, 6 inches. And so we give out the totals like, oh, Cleveland got 6, 7 inches. And you're thinking, well, what about the 9 inch? Well, we gave a range because these things happen. And they're not 100% set in stone. That's just forecasting. That's just weather forecasting in general. If it was set in stone, then we would probably be very rich and someone would have capitalized off of, hey, whatever the meteorologist says goes 100% of the time. So if you want to forecast, pay me $2,000 to avoid this tornado that's going to hit your house. A forecast is a forecast. Anyway, so I digress, but I just want to kind of explain to you just how forecasts work. All right, so here's the lake effect in the morning. Look, still going on in places like Cuyahoga County, Geauga. See, that's why that area right there, that's going to be the highest snowfall totals. So eastern Cuyahoga County, up into Geauga County, Lake County. Notice that I'm going to scoot it back just a second just to show you. Not only are they getting hit right now, but then as we go through the overnight, they're still seeing the lake effect bands there. And then through the morning tomorrow, there's 8 o'clock in the morning, still seeing the lake effect bands. And then you have a band that starts to set up tomorrow by noontime around Erie County, Lorain County, Medina County, Summit County, as well as up in the Lake and Geauga County, bands going on there. Still being fire holes 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow, still some snow setting up by the lake here. And finally starting to cut off by the time we head towards Saturday evening. So that's why that area right there, that sweet spot, eastern Cuyahoga County, northern Summit, over into Geauga County, that's going to be the bullseye. We're talking the 9 to 10, 11 to 12 inches of snow while it tapers off everywhere else. All right, and so then by the time we head towards Sunday afternoon, we get some sunshine, but boy, is it going to be cold. So I hope that was kind of explanatory for some of you. And I'll read through the comments a little later just to see if people were confused or what, because I'll know if you're confused, maybe I didn't explain it right. The next Facebook Live, I'll try and, explain a little better or what have you. Or if it helped and you're in the comments, you're just like, okay, Dontae, I get it. And of course, I know there are going to be some of you that are going to be sarcastic, saying, oh, you whatever, you're just covering yourself, you're never right, yada, 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 whatever. Okay, so there it is right there. So the only thing that we kind of tweaked on here from yesterday is right up along the lake, because it's a tad warmer. The lake is a tad warmer. Right up along the lake, we cut the numbers by a few inches. So Cleveland, 4 to 6 inches, as opposed to the 8 to 12 that we had yesterday. I believe in the morning we had 8 to 10 inches. And then we got some other information about these bands in the afternoon, so we upped a little bit. I'm just using Cleveland as an example here, 10 to 12 inches. And so now the banding, it looks like, is really going to set up just to the south of Cleveland into eastern Cuyahoga County, as opposed to right up along the lake, Cuyahoga County. And so we've just shunted that off just a little bit. So if you actually look at Cleveland, it's 4 to 6 inches, and then put a slash there. 5 to 9 inches is a little further south that you had. You see those color differences right there, that lighter shade of purple into that more pink color. And again, these are never set in stone. I don't want you to think that that somehow weather is going to look at what we draw and say, oh, there's Summit County, it's going to cut right off at Stark County, and Summit County is going to get 6 inches, and as soon as you cross the county line in Stark County, it's only 2 to 4 inches. No, it's never that exact. But these are, again, the gist of what goes on. But that bullseye, 9 to 12 plus inches, you saw why. I just showed you with Futurecast why that in southeastern Cuyahoga County, up through Geauga County, up into western Ashtabula County would be the bullseye of 9 to 12 inches. And then it kind of gradually gets a little less the further out you have, 5 to 9 inches a little out. And then Cleveland, I think Cleveland, if I had to put a number to it, by the time this is all said and done by tomorrow evening, I believe that Cleveland will probably end up with about 8 inches of snow. Now, again, it's going to vary what side of town. We know about lake effect snow. We know about lake effect. So on the east side, you're going to pick up, just give you any general lake effect scenario. Lake effect snowing on the east side, you're going to get maybe 4 or 5 inches or so on the east side. Where on the west side, you may not have gotten anything. So, I'm saying Cleveland, but it's also different sides of town here as well. So if you're writing me on the west side and say, well, you said Cleveland's going to get 8 inches, I'm on the west side and only got 5, and then someone else will write me on the east side and say, yeah, you're right, I got about 9 inches in my backyard. So just take that into effect. A little further out you head, of course, it gets a little lower because you're not dealing with the lake enhanced and lake effect snow. So down towards Akron, you might get about 6 inches or so when it's all said and done. And then down towards Canton, about 2 to 4, 4 to 5 inches. New Philadelphia, a little less than that, about maybe 2, 3, 4 inches in New Philadelphia. And again, I showed you the run through of that Futurecast where those bands set up. And if there's any deviation of those bands, then someone may get a little less snow, and then someone may get hammered with a little more snow. And depending on if you like snow or not, you would think that's a positive or a negative, just depending. I know some of you love it, and you want to go snowboarding, you want to go skiing, you want to have snowball fights and sledding, and the more the merrier. I know you're hoping for that foot of snow. If you're in Norwalk and you love the snow, you're like, please let me get the 9 inches as opposed to the 5 inches, or the 5 to 9 as opposed to the 2 to 4 that's over there, or the 4 to 6 or what have you. You want what you want. I get it. You like the snow, and you'd be disappointed if we're calling for 9 inches in your area or 5 to 9 inches. And one of these bands or the snow showers don't fall as heavy as we thought it would, or doesn't go straight over your area. You only end up with 4 inches. Like, man, I wanted my 9 inches so I could play in the snow. I get it. I do. I really do. But forecasting is, if someone tells you that forecasting is easy, or if someone tells you that forecasting for snow with lake enhanced and lake effect snow is easy, I would probably tell you that person has not forecasted winter weather for a long period of time, because it's not always easy, and it changes. based off of the winds and based off of where the band's set up. But just a long, again, a long diatribe about forecasting, and but it remains the same. We have not really changed much to this forecast from yesterday. Again, the only tweak was right up along the lake. Where we cut the numbers by about 2-3 inches to reflect the warmer waters on the lake. But everything else, I think where it says 5 to 9, yesterday we had 6 to 9. So I think we cut that down just a smidge. And where it says 9 to 12 plus, we refined that area. Instead, yesterday we had 10 to 12. Now we have 9 to 12. Just again to adjust for some of the banding and some of the model updates that we get overnight. And that's again, don't forget that. We constantly get model updates on these things. And so when the model updates and says, here's a good example. So when we have these storm systems that are coming in from the Pacific Ocean, we have the model that says, okay, a week from now, you're going to get this storm. And here's the model of what the storm is going to do. And we will tell you there's a lot of uncertainty. We don't know this, we don't know that. And once, we get more model updates, well, every day that passes by, the model gives us more and more accurate information of what's going to happen. And so once the storm comes on shore, we get more model updates. So this is what's going to happen. And then 3 days out, we get more updates. Okay, here's what's going to happen. 2 days out, 1 day, and then the same thing happens when the storm actually gets here. We're still getting information, and so we tweak the information based off of that. So with these numbers, it was just slight adjustments, no wholesale changes. So we still stand by this, but just a slight tweaking of the numbers there. I hope that's explanatory for some of you. I use these Facebook Lives to kind of explain some of that stuff that you can't explain on TV. You got to just get to the numbers and get off. That's it. TV is like that, but these Facebook Lives allow us to do just that. All right, so now let's talk about what's coming our way tomorrow morning. So behind this system, it really pulls in some frigid air, and we're back to the wind chills below zero. So tomorrow morning, it's going to be breezy and it's going to be cold. Our lows tonight are like 11 degrees, and same thing for tomorrow night. And so with 11 degrees and breezes of about 20-25 miles an hour, we get wind chills that are going to be about 10-15 degrees below zero. Wouldn't be surprised if we get, especially out west, let's say 77 and west, probably the better chance there. And you can see that right here. I've seen those below zero wind chills. So we may get a wind chill advisory from the National Weather Service tonight and tomorrow night for that matter. Don't think we'll get a wind chill warning. I think that would be a little too, I don't think we're going to be that cold. And then by tomorrow afternoon, it doesn't get better. Not only do we still have on and off again lake effect snow showers and snow bands, we're breezy and we're cold. We only get it to like 19 tomorrow. And so it'll feel like we're in the single digits for tomorrow afternoon. And then tomorrow night into Sunday morning, again, below zero, about 5 degrees below zero, so 0 to 5 degrees below zero for Sunday morning. So headed to services Sunday morning, bundle up. Not only with the fancy dresses and the great-looking suits and the wonderful hats, but the heavy coats, too, and the gloves and the scarf, because it's going to be cold. And then by Sunday afternoon, we get back into the teens. I'll back that up a little bit to reflect the afternoon. We get back into the teens for the real feel because it's still breezy, and we'll be in the mid-20s for Sunday afternoon, but we'll also see some sunshine coming out too. Then on Monday and into next week, we finally get a thaw and help warm things back up and melt the snow, but then there's problems with melting the snow too, and then we get some rain because there's some flooding potentials there. So scattered snow still around. Cold temperatures today, breezy, 24. Tonight, again, 11. And northwest winds about 5 to 15 miles an hour, and every now and again a breeze up to about 20 miles an hour. So that makes it feel all the colder. The lake effect snow showers tomorrow throughout the day, 19. 24 for Sunday. We get sunshine in the afternoon. Again, 13 for overnight low Saturday night and Sunday. So the wind chill still below zero both nights. And then finally, Monday. It's rare that you get excited over a Monday, right? A TGIM instead of TGIF, because we get some sunshine. Temperatures are above freezing, so we start to melt the snow. But then there's a heads up. Tuesday morning, we are looking at another system that comes in. It starts for the morning commute look at that 31 Monday night into Tuesday. That's below freezing. So we're going to start the Tuesday morning commute with some snow and some possible ice there. So whether that be sleet / freezing rain, let's call it a wintry mix for Tuesday morning's commute. So heads up there, Tuesday morning's commute could be slick. Again, we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're about 5 days out from that. So again, you got to stick with us as the evolution of the storm may change. So those temperatures, that overnight temperature, let's say that warms up to 35. That's going to change the precipitation type that we see, because now we're above freezing, and so that may be a cold rain as opposed to snow, sleet, freezing rain mix or so. So stay with us, though. And then in the afternoon, once temperatures warm up, it changes over into all rain. And that's not good, because now we have temperatures 40 degrees, melting the snow, and we have rain on top of that. And so that's going to create, as we get into next week in the 40s, some possible flooding situations, minor to moderate flooding. 44 on Wednesday, cloudy skies, perhaps some rain there. I kept it at 20% in there because there's some model disagreements. But Thursday and Friday, mid-40s, warmer temperatures, above freezing, and we get rain on top of melting snow. And even overnight, we're still melting because we're in the upper 30s, above freezing, 36, 38, 37. So next week, we may be talking about some minor to moderate flooding situations around the area creeks and rivers and what have you. Okay, so that, my friends, I think that might have been a longer live than I intended, but I think I got down the explanation rabbit hole of just wanted to kind of explain forecasting to you all and about why some areas may see a little bit less or a little bit more snow than what is forecast. But the general gist, that's why we do the ranges. We would not be smart to pinpoint one snowfall number for one location. That would set you up for failure. So we do the ranges, 6 to 9, 5 to 8, 10 to 12, whatever. But nonetheless, this is what we've been seeing. If you want to send in pictures to us, you can. I believe, in Celeste, you can text me if I'm wrong here. I believe you can email them to us, but for us to show them on TV and to show them on our social media, you have to sign what's called a user-generated content form, a UGC form, just to say you took the picture yourself, and it's okay if Fox 8 uses it on TV and social media. So if you're willing to do that, go ahead and email us your pictures or videos, and then our team will email you back a UGC form for you to sign, and you email it back to us and say, okay, here, you can use my pictures and videos. Always cool to see that. For those of you who this is a nightmare for you, I'm sorry if you had to travel out in this, or if your job was inconvenienced, or your school was inconvenienced, and sorry, it happens. Sorry about that. But for those of you who love it and who finally have a snow day, a day off of work, a day off of school, and you go out with the kids or yourself, adults go out and play and all that, good for you. I'm glad you can. I know there's a lot of people out there who love the season, who love winter. Finally, you get some snow. This is the beginning of the season. We're kind of smack dab in the middle, to be honest with you. December was just so warm. We're right in the middle, but January's been volatile. It's going to continue to be volatile. February might be a tad warmer and wet, and that might be that El Nino factor. So February might feature less cold snaps, but more rain-snow mixed storms or what have you. But again, we'll see. But Scott and Andre did a really good job on the upcoming winter weather forecast back in November when they did that. They were right on the money. It was a warm December, and then December came with this cold snap and the snowstorms, and then I think February might skew on the warmer side. Now, again, that's not to say that February is not going to have its cold days and what have you, but when it's all said and done and it wraps up, I believe, if I'm correct with the rest of the winter weather forecast, it just kind of skews a little on the warmer and wetter side. All right, so that's it for me. It's 2:20. I got to get the forecast and give you the update, checking the model updates and checking all the information so that we can give you the latest at 4 o'clock when my friends Andre and Mackenzie join me. All right, everybody have a great weekend. Stay warm and be safe and be careful out there on the roadways. We'll see you at 4 o'clock.